Hey everybody, so here's yet another example of a little electrolytic capacitor taking down a power supply unit. So here we have this HiPro power supply. It's an HP-P3017F3, and this was originally pulled from a Dell computer. The issue with it was it would come on. All the voltages appear to be in spec. The 3.3 to 5 volt to 12 volt, all of those appear to be in spec. But this thing would not achieve power good right away upon startup. Sometimes you have to wait a couple minutes for things to warm up. Usually what I would do to get this thing to get power good to become active is put my hand over the fan to block air from blowing through this thing, to let it heat up a little bit, and then magically the little LED on the back of the PSU would come on, indicating power good. But I knew there was something capacitor related with this unit, because the fact that you had to get this thing to heat up just a little bit to get it to work. And this little sucker right here was our culprit. It's a little bitty 1 microfarad 50 volt electrolytic cap made by L-Tech. Another one of those wonderful capacitor manufacturers that can't seem to manufacture decent capacitors to save their lives. So I didn't get footage of me recapping this thing. Well, I do have videos on this unit from the past, and I'll put a link in the upper right corner where you can check that out. This was one of the units I used in a demonstration of a PC not completing post, because, well, this PSU was not giving out power good. But now, as soon as I power up this unit, you see power good immediately comes on. You got the LED right there. That's what we want. You gotta have power good in order for your PC to post. So let me show you where that little capacitor went. So we're looking inside the unit, and let's just say that I've basically done a full recap of this thing, because the only caps I haven't touched are those two primaries, the big green ones there, and there's also a little capacitor on the little daughter board that has, I guess that's a PWM controller, or the 5 volt standby controller for this thing. I think that's 5 volt standby, or it might be both 5 volt standby and PWM. But anyways, I've changed all the capacitors on the little daughter board that has the supervisory chip. All those little guys there are brand new. All the ones on the output, except for that little one there, have been changed. But this thing, it just would not get power good. I'm like, what the heck is the deal with this thing? I was beginning to think it was possibly a bad supervisor. But lo and behold, right down there, next to the diode, where there's a replacement capacitor there, a little 1 microfarad 50 volt capacitor. The replacement is physically larger in size than the original. I mean, the original is pretty dang small. So I tried to measure the capacitance of it, and it's basically almost open circuit. It's probably dried out. It was right under the secondary heatsink. This is such a wonderful place to put electrolytic capacitor, you know. In a way, I'm kind of surprised they didn't just freaking use a ceramic 1 microfarad capacitor, or like a polyester film capacitor there, instead of electrolytic. But I replaced it with what I had, electrolytic capacitor, but this time from Rubicon, a Japanese brand that's a lot better quality than Elcon. And this unit, finally, after having it in my collection for several years, it finally works like it's supposed to. The power good comes right up, so I can finally install this thing into a system, because I am refurbishing some Octoplex 390s, and this would be a perfect power supply for one of those machines. It's got the exact connectors we need, and it's a pretty solid unit. HiPros are good units. A little bit different than Bestech. HiPro is a little bit better quality than Bestech, to be honest. But anyways, yeah, that little capacitor was what was causing the power good issues, because once I changed it, bam, power good works like it's supposed to. So anyways, I'm gonna get this thing back together and I'll be able to put this thing back into service. But yeah, that is an update on this freaking PSU. It was that little capacitor causing the power good to not come up right away. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.